walk the streets and see faces. But not everyone carries soul. Not all have light. There are bodies that have been seeded, meat rents occupied by voices that are no longer human. The world is full of false smiles, empty hugs, and no eyes that don't shine. And if you realize it, it's because it's no longer from here. There is a new spiritual wave circulating the earth, camouflaged entities in ordinary people. Spirits that take shape, appearance, routine. They dress from friends, relatives, colleagues. They use the language of empathy but carry the mission of deception. And you, chosen, were raised as a watershed. Where you arrive, the presence shakes. They can't stand their silence. They cannot support masks near their truth. You get into an environment and everything shudder, not because you said, but because your vibration exposed what was hidden. The sky has used you as a provocative, not of confusion, but of liberation. You are the confrontation no one expected. This is why behaviors change when you approach. That's why looks look away, voices fail, people writhing in too sweet words. This is why, around, some presences become uncomfortable. Because they are not just people, they are inhabited houses. These are minds possessed by invisible pacts, unreaded traumas, for wills delivered. And your light bothers you. Your seal breaks the disguise. Your spirit denounces. You are the trigger, the fuse, the awakening. That's why hell notices you before others hear you. So there is rejection. Because what lives in some does not support what you live in you. This world does not reject you by chance. It only expels you before you expel what it protects. You carry something that causes liberation, even without intention. And that is why the resistance began. You are not being attacked for being wrong, is being attacked for being sent. You are the recognition of truth in the midst of social possession. You have tried to explain, but people don't understand. You feel this weight on your chest, this spiritual sensitivity, this desire to move away. But they say it's just tiredness, anxiety, exaggeration. But you know, at the bottom of your soul you feel it is something bigger. That is spiritual. If that word found you at this point, comment here. It's with me. And if you need prayer, open your heart. We read, we pray. And if you want to walk with those who feel the same things you hide, subscribe here on the channel. This is the territory of those that heaven separated in silence. And now that heaven has revealed to you, the war has begun, but the victory is already marked. You enter a room and the body already feels before your mind understands. The presence of someone hits you like a cold wind. There is no logic, no reason, but there is something. You try to smile, but your chest squeezes. The hug comes, but instead of hot, a weight. Words flow, but what you hear doesn't match what vibrates. This person who seems so cordial exhausts you, and you wonder, what's wrong with me? But the right question is, what is wrong with her? The truth is that some human beings no longer carry themselves. There are ancestral pain, old pacts, hidden shadows, and they find shelter in the soul of those who refuse to be healed. And when a chosen one approaches, what was silent begins to scream inside. That's why you feel the strange energy. This is why that person's body retracts or restless. That's why your mood changes, the mind weighs, the vision blurs. Because the spirit that inhabits the other recognizes his seal, and this triggers an invisible war. Have you noticed that the devices lock close to these people? That your body creeps just touching something of them? What laughter seems forced, excessive compliments too run away? It is the spirit inside them trying to disguise the discomfort. They don't know, but what's behind them you know, and you with your awakened soul are capturing everything. It is not paranoia. It is discernment. Intuition screams you, but the mind tries to silence. Don't judge. But this is not a judgment here. It is spiritual survival. Those who live in the light cannot pretend they have not seen the shadow. And you saw. You felt. That's why it's here. That's why you're reading this now. Because what's wrong? It's not you. You carry too light. You have the gift of realizing what no one admits. And that is a weight. But it is also a key. God is sharpening your discernment so that you know where the human ends and where manipulation begins. You will no longer be mistaken. You will no longer be poisoned by appearance. Your spirit already knows, and now your mind too. You come in, and something to stroll. A different silence sets in. Laughter changes, the posture changes. There is a subtle but powerful restlessness. You did nothing, I said nothing, but the atmosphere is no longer the same, because you carry a seal, and the seal carries a frequency that exposes what is disguised. People who called you a friend now look at you crossed. Sweet words become bitter in the next second. You begin to notice the hidden envy in compliments, the frustration behind support, the criticism disguised as advice. It's not your arrogance, it is sensitivity. It is their light forcing the other to face his own darkness. There is an invisible power in you. It does not depend on speech, argument, position. Just be present. The secrets are striking, masks slip, the smiles tremble. You begin to realize who dodges, who exaggerates in affection, who pretends to hear, and who. You may even be smiling outside, but inside it's struggling to continue. You have prayed, you have been silent, you have felt things that you don't know how to explain, and it has carried a loneliness that no one around you seems to realize. I understand, because many who are here also carry this. Comment here if that word spoke to you. Leave your prayer request, and if it's not yet part of the channel, you subscribe, because here you don't have to pretend you are well. Here, we feel together. Trembles inside when seeing you coming. You became a mirror, and no one remains whole in the face of a true reflection. The enemies surrender trying to please you. The false prophets reveal themselves trying to shut you up. Manipulations fail when they pass through their eyes. Because the spirit in you does not negotiate. He feels, he confronts, and he releases. You disrupt the enemy's plans without realizing it. You are a field of exhibition. What is rotten does not resist your presence. What is disguised is crumbled by its transparency. God is using you as a lit lamp in trap-filled rooms. You didn't ask for that, but you carry it. So they hurt the departures. That's why the looks are burned. That's why they call you difficult, cold, proud, when in fact you are only light, and light when it enters, or illuminates, or expels. Do not be surprised by those who fall. Do not be sorry for those who reveal themselves. Your seal was activated to bring truth. And true, my brother, never leaves stone on stone. Who tried to hide, now is exposed. Because you arrived. Because the light has arrived. Because God decided that no one else would live in the look of where you step. You have not noticed, but from the moment you accepted that you carry something sacred, your body has become more than flesh. He began to vibrate like a mobile altar, and each step in contaminated territory becomes exorcism. Your body is now a temple, antenna, sword. You enter an environment and don't understand why the atmosphere changes. He feels nausea, a head pain, a weight in his chest. There is no logic, but there is revelation. What you are feeling is the resistance of the invisible. Your spiritual body reacts before your mind soothes, because you have been programmed to detect what is hiding and interrupt what is disguised. Some people move away from you for no reason. Others are irritated only with their presence. Your eyes bother, your voice confronts, your silence oppresses those who carry falsehood, and you begin to understand that your shadow carries authority. May your touch release healing. May your hug break ties that were signed for decades. You play and the other creeps. You speak and the other silences. You pray and demons change their plan. This strength did not come from your perfection, but from your delivery. God took his pain, his humiliation, his loneliness, and turned you into a censer. Now, what is dirty moves away. What is unclean is written. What is hidden begins to scream in silence as you approach. You may ask yourself, why do I feel so tired after some meetings? Because his spirit fought as the other pretended to smile. Because his field expelled what he tried to hide. You are an instrument of exposure, even without intention, and that has a cost, but it also has a purpose. Accept. You were sealed to be light where darkness reigned in peace. Your body is now radar, its gate, it is a sword. Where you arrive, hell retreats, even if no one sees. And that is just the beginning, because heaven has already anointed you as a silent liberation agent. You don't have to say you carry something. Your body has already declared for you. You start to wonder what you did wrong. Why suddenly people who walked with you now cross the street? Why did those who have sworn to be by your side one day, today avoid you with your eyes? But the problem is not you. It is what dwells in you. It's the seal. And the seal, when active, expels everything that was not born to remain. The soul of that person still loves you, but the spirit that now dwells in it rejects you. And this conflict generates strangeness. She misses you. But something about her gets up when you arrive. Something that was once asleep now reacts. Because your presence became confrontation. You are no longer compatible with pacts that tolerated in the past. And maybe they say that you got intense, too religious, radical. You just got clean. And the clean bothers the dirty. The aligned denounces the corrupted just because it is standing. Its light is projecting shadows on the faces of those who have always hidden intentions. What you call rejection is actually a spiritual screening. God is letting the ties break before the nuts pull you back. You break contracts just for appearing. It exposes wrong covenants just for breathing. The spirit within the other person is bothered by the spirit who now lives in you. Because stamps speak, even in silence, and activated seals shine, even in the dark. What you are living is not abandonment, it is purification. It is not loneliness, it is holy separation. War is not against you, it is against those who sealed you, against the name that now rests on its forehead. So the coldness, so the blocks, so the silence. They do not reject your personality, reject the glory that began to leak from you. And yes, it hurts. But don't be fooled, this is a sign that heaven has assumed you. And when there's something that moves inside you when you hear certain words. It's not emotional, it is not psychological, it is spiritual. It's like you've heard it before, even if you don't understand how. The spirit recognizes what the mind is still trying to rationalize. If this touched you, comments down here, I recognize. And if you want, ask prayer. Someone will pray for you. And if you haven't signed up yet, this may be the time to accept that the call has already begun and that you are not here by chance. Heaven assumes you, the world returns you. You have been accepted in the heavenly regions. This is why it is being returned by emotional connections. Who needs to stay will be sealed too. The rest will be removed, because the seal separates, and only then reveals. Accept the separation. Honor this silence, because it is not absence. It is God cutting the excess. Because whoever goes with you needs to endure your presence, and the presence that dwells you. Not every spiritual attack comes with explicit screams or possession. Sometimes it comes with hugs, with compliments, with sweet promises of friendship, love, or companionship. But there is something that the chosen ones learn over time. The truth of the Spirit always leaks through the crack of the flesh, and you who carries the seal were anointed to discern, even when the appearance deceives. You arrive and the environment changes. There are people who, once smiling, change humor as soon as you enter. The air gets dense, the gestures become hard, the words sharpened, irritation for no reason, sudden distraction, attempts to divert your speech, your prayer, your essence, as if someone or something tried to silence what is in you. You realize, because spiritual discernment does not need proof. He feels. You feel discomfort in your eyes, a vibration in your chest, a chill without explanation. There is a second being inside, and it's not paranoia, it is sensitivity. God put a sensor on you, a radar, an invisible alarm that plays every time someone carries more than a soul. Words that should comfort you, and you think, is it me? It is the spirit in the other who is trying to neutralize you. Some looks shake, divert, or face you with hatred contained. It's not personal, it is spiritual. Your seal denounces the opposite presence, and she reacts. The conversation changes, the tone changes, the atmosphere changes. You talk about God and the person yawns. It is restless, or start laughing. It is not disrespect, it is resistance. And the hidden spirit knows it was discovered. You play, and the other retreats. You pray, and the other is silent. You speak, and the other harshly counterattacks. But all this is not human opposition. It is battle disguised as a bond. Heaven has given you discernment to protect your mission, not to judge the other, but yes, to protect yourself from what you live in it. There is always a moment when the disguise falls, and you will know. Through the skin, the air, the absence of peace. God will show you, not for you to run away with fear, but to position yourself with authority. Because those who carry seal are not deceived, they are revealing. And today, you understand. What you feel is what the other carries. And what the other carries, you know exactly who you are. You didn't ask for that. He never wanted to become a reflection of anyone. But something changed the moment the seal was activated. Its existence began to function as a mirror for the surrounding souls. And what seemed only sensitivity became confrontation. You enter an environment and suddenly the masks begin to slip. The words fail, the smiles wage, the eyes deviate or face you with excess. People don't know why, but something in them reacts to their presence. And the truth is simple. God is using you as a surface of revelation. What is inside the others begins to manifest just because you arrived. You didn't say anything, but the silence it carries more than phrases. It carries weight. Weight of glory, real weight. Weight of those who have already faced the pain and survived to be a channel. That's why people cry close to you. Confess without realizing it. They are uncomfortable when the conversation begins to touch the spiritual. It's not because you judge, it's because you active. God made you mirror, not to humiliate, but to remember. Remind people who they were before the world deformed them. You bring back the reflection of the clean soul. That's why they tremble. Retreat. Some move away. Others approach hungry and fear at the same time. There is something in your look that penetrates them, something in their tone of voice that calms them, or disruption, because it is not you, it is the presence that walks with you. God is talking to others through your life, your way, your walk, your way of loving with truth, your way of not adapting to what contaminates. The Spirit has chosen you as an instrument of silent exposure. He doesn't use you with shouts, He uses you with presence. And where you step, invisible cycles end. Stories are confronted, burdens begin to weigh, lives bend, because the mirror does not lie, and the reflection you carry is light. And where there is light, there is no way to hide. The war has changed. It no longer happens in visible altars or noisy cults. Now it is in the field of the invisible, in the eyes, the intentions, the whispered words, and the presence that come in and out of places as if. There are pains that you lived that no one has seen. You cried without audience. You fell to your knees in silence, and even without understanding, continued. This type of pain is not in vain. She forges the chosen ones. If this message spoke to your story, comments, this pain has purpose. Leave your prayer request in the comments, and if you can, pray for someone who is asking too. Here, there is no applause, but there is a presence. Subscribe, because here the pain becomes called, and the silence becomes a testimony. They were ordinary, but you are not common. That's why you feel what others ignore. Hell learned to use family faces. Possession now wears affection, praises with poison, smiles with manipulation. That's why lately you have been disconnected from those who have always been by your side. What was before friendship became tension. What was once love became spiritual noise. You realize when the look is contaminated, when the greeting hides judgment, when the touch carries energy absorption. It's not paranoia, it's discernment. Heaven tuned his senses because war now happens in the relationship, between the lines, in distraction, in emotional tiredness without explanation. And the portals no longer open with spell or ritual. They open with damn words said in times of vulnerability, with broken promises, with compliments loaded with possession, with silences they want to control. You are not just fighting demons, you are facing invisible pacts disguised as love. But God is instructing you. He doesn't want you to fight with visible sword, He wants you to carry presence. Because now the true warriors are those who enter the environments and dislodge evil only with the spiritual field they carry. They don't scream, they do not expose, they discern and act in silence. The spirit of the Antichrist is already acting, and his strategy is to hurt you inside. But the sky armed you firmly. You are part of a generation that wins in subtlety, that keeps the faith even under emotional attack, which detects hidden possessions without having to exercise aloud. The war is now relational, and you, it's the sword. With every environment you enter, something moves, and it's not always applauded. Sometimes it is expelled, sometimes it reacts. Because your presence, now loaded with purpose, no longer goes as a visit, it enters as a portal. And every portal needs to be armored. The olive oil on the forehead, which many despise, is armor. It is not tradition, it is spiritual codification. Where the oil plays, the invisible recognizes that there is a border there. Before leaving home, mark your forehead. Declare that you do not go out alone. The sky goes with you. Psalms, especially those of war, protection, and delivery, are not just ancient texts. They are frequencies. When released in a prophetic voice, they clean the way, cut hits, close holes where the enemy enters without being seen. Read them with faith, not to fulfill a ritual, but to activate codes in the spirit. Consecration music is more than sound background. It transforms the air. It creates a spiritual bubble where evil does not breathe. And when you get back from loaded environments, treat your body as a wounded temple. Bath with coarse salt, fasting of voices, absolute silence for 24 hours. You can't sleep with the war still attached to your skin. Observe your body. Where did it hurt? Where did you tremble? Where did it burn? What the mind tries to ignore, the body reveals. The place where the pain landed was where the intruder spirit tried to enter. This pain is map. This pain is track. The body of the chosen does not feel by chance. He feels by mission. Sleep with a consecrated word under the pillow. Use pieces that have already been anointed, not for superstition, but to activate continuous presence. And declare daily, every opposite presence will be revealed. Because you have not been called to support what you consume, have been called to reveal what is hidden. Spiritual shielding is now your responsibility. You have already been marked. It has already been activated. And who carries the seal can no longer come out without armor. The time has come to stop hiding from what is already operating through you. Your presence is not neutral. It affects, active, frees, or expels. And what you call rejection, it's just the reflection of your spiritual strength entering action. Comment, my presence liberates, so it bothers you. It is not a phrase of effect. It is prophetic key. It is collective activation. You need to declare what the sky has already marked in silence. Hell trembles more before a chosen conscious than before 1,000 distracted. Share this with whoever is being away from the light, because the rejection that hurts today is the consecration that tomorrow will heal others. Or, Lord, reveal who is being used around me, and be ready, because the revelation will come, and it can hurt. For 3 days, note, don't talk too much. Just feel the silent reactions your presence provokes. There are answers in silence. There are confrontations without words. You will find that you have already kicked out without realizing it, that your arrival has already become liberation, and your departure, judgment. Go away from where you feel it has become a threat. Do not explain yourself. Do not try to fit where God has already taken you. Record what is happening. Write down. Record. You will realize that everything was already moving, but now you are awake to see. Reread this script after your next battle, because it is not just content, it is survival manual for those who carry light in dark time. Post with courage. Move away who has something to hide. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. And the final trigger, if your presence bothers someone's spirit, it's because it is healing the soul. You were raised for this. Do not deny your mission anymore. Do not escape your identity anymore. Now that heaven has revealed you, it is the world that needs to recognize you.